Where were you when you first heard about the assassination?
I was actually working part-time, and I was in a restaurant for a lunch hour kind of thing. And people started talking. It came over the news. People were talking, oh, my God, JFK has been assassinated. Everybody was horrified, absolutely horrified. It was like, oh, they couldn't believe it. It was just like if they could have dropped a bomb in the middle of Chicago or something. It would have been the same kind of a reaction. This can't be. Okay.
The next one is, how did you and people react around you when people first heard about the assassination?
Just as I just said, everybody was horrified. I mean, whether they voted for him or not, whether they liked him or not, it didn't make any difference. He was the president of the United States, and at that time there was respect for the president. It wasn't like today where everybody is vilifying Trump and how horrible things they say. Never in our history of the United States has anyone been talked about like Trump is. So that never happened. People just were so empathetic. People were crying all over the place. It was amazing.
The next one, how long was the event on newspapers and televisions, and what did they say about the assassination?
Oh, my God. It was on for, like the entire week or week and a half. And then even after that, the burial, the wake, the family, the airline where, they took Johnson and put him aboard Air Force One and swore him in right next to Jackie, who was standing there in her blood-soaked clothes because when her husband was killed in the car, his head fell over into her lap. He fell down like that, so she had blood all over her. But they scooped everybody up, and he went to the hospital. They pronounced him dead, then zoomed her on Air Force One, and that's where Johnson was sworn in right away. It was awful, and they talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. Everything was televised. Everything that they did, every incident that occurred, and then they were talking, how we got to get this guy. Who was it? And Lee Harvey Oswald, blah, blah, blah. It just went on for a long time.
Okay. How did this impact you at the time, and does this event still affect you in any way or form?
I think at the time it was like, oh my God, this could happen to the President of the United States. So what could happen? And how could anything how could we be spared from anything? We can't. We're all out there, and we're all raw victims or prey. I shouldn't say victims, but we're all prey for anybody that wants to come after us. This is free America. But does it affect me today? No, I can't say that it does. It makes me sad if I still see something about the Kennedys, that a life was taken so young from that man, and those children were deprived of a father.
So even though it doesn't affect you, do you still, how often do you think about it, and how often are you, reminded of the event?
I think I really don't think about it, and the only time I'm reminded, or the only time I have been reminded of it recently, is during an election time, because when we see these people, talking about each other, the terrible things they say while they're looking to be nominated and stuff like that, you think about it then, and then if you don't like the candidate or the stuff they say, they go, oh, he's going to be the next one to be assassinated, and then it shocks you, and you go, oh my God, Lincoln and him, and they shot, Truman. No, I don't know who was Truman wasn't shot. Oh my goodness, Reagan. Any of these guys. That's when it shocks you, or that's when you think about it, that this could happen again.
Do you know anybody in your community or around you that was completely devastated by this event?
Actually, I don't. No, not an individual, and I don't know anybody really that was that close in politics where they would have known more than we did. We pretty much went by what the newspapers and TV were saying. That's how we got our information back then. Yeah, that was pretty much it. The internet wasn't out there. We weren't able to Google anything and get more information. That just was not the technology at the time.
Hold on one sec. I just gotta write this down. Okay. This next question, I'm gonna get rid of it because you kind of answered that in the previous one.
Okay.
What happened to America as a whole due to this?
Well, I think we, again, were awakened to the fact that this could happen again. There truly are evil people out there. There are hateful people out there. And anything could happen, although, we're not thinking it's necessarily going to be anybody that's going to be shot, but America as a whole knows that if people don't like our president or people don't like something that's going on, they're going to do more than just go to assassinate the guy. Wars are going to start. Look at all the trouble we're having in the Middle East now, and, with ISIS and everything. All of this is government related. All of this is government related. If we make decisions in our government, that's what they want. Everything to go their way. Let them do this or let them take over, and we're not going to let them take over the world.
And the very last question is, are there any events that happened recently that can connect to the JFK assassination or are somehow similar to it?
None that I'm aware of off the top of my head. I really don't know. I know they're going to do. No, I really don't know. I can't answer that one for you. I'm sorry.
Like, can you relate any of this to somehow ISIS, the Middle East, North Korea, or is it somehow similar on what they're trying to do to affect America as a whole?
Well, it is. That's what they're doing. We have had wars, and from the beginning of time, and wars will continue, I think, forever. I think they're going to continue forever. They need, to have something going on. And some people think that even people in politics, our politics as well as in other countries, wars make jobs. You get jobs when people are, at war. We need ammunition. We need machinery. We need airplanes. We need boats. We need everything. America is busy. We're at war. We're working. Everybody here is working for the war effort. We're helping them. We can't be there fighting, but now we don't have boots on the ground as much as we used to have before. That's where our soldiers were fighting. They were boots on the ground and fighting that way. Now we got all this nuclear stuff, bombs and everything that they're using, gases. I don't know, we're using them, but it'll be different kind of wars that we have in the future. But are we going to have them? I believe we will.
Do you think that there are any historical before JFK's assassination that could that's similar to it? Does that make sense?
No, I'm not getting the question. I'm not understanding your question.
So are there any other American events that can happen that relate to the JFK assassination? This isn't recent. This can be in the 1700s or the 1800s.
Well, you know what? We had a civil war. Lincoln freed the slaves. We had different wars out there for different reasons. There's always a different reason for every war that we have. I don't think it's the same reason that starts the next war or something, but there's always something going on. Always something going on in the world, okay? I mean, we had the Christians fighting, the pagans years ago. I mean, hundreds of years ago. It never stops. It never stops.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Graham.
Okay, I hope